Okay. I believe this to be working, so I'm just gonna go. Just gonna go to my. Gonna check on my phone, and turn my volume down a little bit. Okay, we're good. We're good. Hi, hello. There's no one here, but that's okay. This is mostly so I don't have to store footage anywhere else, and I can just. I'm so sorry. There's a light behind me. I'm a professional. I also look a little crazy. It's okay. I don't have to go to work till 10 tomorrow, so it's a good time. It's a good time. So don't even worry about it. Hi. All right. That's fine. It's fine. And I'll just be my only viewer right now. It's okay. I just have it up on my phone. Okay, cool. Yeah, great. I'm so good at this. I'm hoping to get like a webcam. I ordered one. It's Elgato, so hopefully it's nice. I'm actually gonna message a friend that I'm streaming real quick. Okay. Hi. I could message my other friends too. Oh, I could message all sorts of friends. I'm so sorry about the light. Oh my god. I mean, the only person who's gonna have a problem with this light is me when I'm trying to. I don't even know if I'll use any of. Whatever. I'm just bored. Okay. Puppy. Smiley face. Cool. I should clarify where I'm streaming on YouTube. Oh, I turned my phone off. How silly of me. YouTube doesn't run when your phone turned off. Because it's stupid. That's why I use new pipe. Don't tell the police. Okay, so I have my materials. Most of my research I do online. But I do some not online. I actually have notes from when I went to the UFO festival in Exeter. That's a fun time. That's a good time. It was interesting meeting people like that. I think a lot of them were probably talking out their ass, but that's, it's okay. It's fine. There's this one guy there who, he was just selling on the street corner. He made his own design that I meant to look into and never actually did. I have it. It's all in pieces now, but that's okay. That's okay. I will look into it eventually. Maybe we could do it right now. I actually don't know which page is the first page because it came all apart on me. It was only stapled together because it was just he just printed it out, which is fine. Rip. You can change your YouTube username. Yeah, okay, yeah, swap to your other account. See you in a minute. Oh, here's the front. I think there were actually two. I got a couple different things from this guy on the street corner. I mean, it's what you do when you're at the UFO festival, right? Oh, there's a bunch of QR codes in it. They're put together by. I'm assuming this is this guy's thing. It's Oz Entertainment. I'm assuming that's the name of his little thing. I'm not going to do that right now because it's all a mess. Yes, it was very up my alley. It was a lot of fun. A lot of kooks, but that's okay. That's okay. you can't catch the fun people without catching a couple crazy people. Sometimes they're the same person. Yeah, so I have on my notes. That was a big point for my research for my aliens presentations. I actually got to listen to Charles Foltz, who was part of the Allagash abductions, which, by the way, I had never heard of until I went to that. So that's interesting to me because I've looked into a lot of things and they just, I don't know, it happened a while ago though, which is I think why I haven't seen any like YouTube videos on it. I'm sure if I looked for a YouTube video on it, I could find it, but it didn't just like come across. Charles Foltz, Foltz. Yeah, not Charles Schultz, creator of Peanuts. Two different people, though that would be fun if they were the same person, wouldn't it? That would add some lore. But yeah, so I have my notes here. But what I'm going to do today, I think, is I love getting magazines that are like, there's a, like I have UFOs and Aliens magazine, and I have the history of witchcraft and haunted history and Are We Alone? And mostly I like to get these kind of magazines and rip them to shreds, not physically, but like emotionally, because the magazine has very delicate emotions, as you all know. So this one actually seems like it might be a little bit more reasonable on the things that they posit. It seems to take it from like a scientific perspective, which is my favorite kind of like venturing into aliens and cryptids and stuff. Is I like to take a scientific approach. Because like at my core, I'm someone who wants to believe. I want to so bad, but I know that people are lying to me. So so I have to like, it has to make sense, you know? If it doesn't make sense, I'm not going to just be like, "Oh yeah, you're probably telling me the truth," because there's a lot of reasons a lot of people have to lie to you. And, you know, I sound a little bit like a conspiracy theorist, but I'm a conspiracy theorist that's an anti-conspiracy theorist. I'm putting up red strings of how the conspiracy theories don't make sense, you know? So, yeah, so this one actually goes into like how planets form, which is really fun. I'm actually doing a little course on Coursera of astrobiology, which is significantly more science than people would think, because when you say astrobiology, people think, oh, aliens. But really, it's somewhat looking outwards, but it's also looking inwards because we are also in the universe. We, for the most part, we have a sample size of 1. Well, see, okay. It doesn't necessarily not make sense for life, for us to be the only currently existing life. It doesn't make sense, but it also doesn't not make sense for a number of reasons. And actually, I can go into that if you want me to. I've done a lot of research. I love astrobiology. I would just have to pull up my PowerPoint. Where's my PowerPoint? Okay, I'm gonna go find it. And then I don't know, maybe I'll screen share. This is me practicing how things work because I don't stream frequently. Okay. I actually, in my PowerPoint, it's not complete. I don't have a complete list of all the things I want to have in there about The possibility and stuff. Where's my stuff? Um, yeah, so that is a theory, but then you still would get to the bottom of where did that life come from? Which is why, for the most part, people don't necessarily look into that too much because you're basically looking into the same thing. We know essentially nothing about abiogenesis, so we don't know precisely what has to occur in order to get that jump from inorganic to organic. We've been looking into it. We do know like a good amount. It's just there's a lot more to know that we don't. Like, for example, for us, our like amino acids can exist without organic life. Like they can just happen. And that's what, and our bodies didn't build amino acid. They're built around existing amino acids. And that's actually a really interesting thing when it comes to our version of life and possible other life forms. Because, let's be real, some people out there are alien fuckers, and you know what? I don't blame them necessarily. I've never met an alien. Maybe they're very attractive. But the possibility of reproduction would depend entirely on whether or not their amino acids line up with ours. Just as a side note, a fun fact. Yeah, so with a chemical reaction under specific circumstances is a pretty good, like, that's generally what we feel abiogenesis was. The problem is we don't know what conditions, we don't know what chemical reaction, we don't know we don't know any of that, and we've been trying to figure it out for not a very long time, actually, because science didn't develop that quickly, but relatively in the field we've been looking at it's in this very new field, we've been looking at that for a while. So actually, okay, there was a button somewhere, share screen. Okay, is this gonna be crazy for a second? Select window or screen. I'm just gonna do entire screen. Don't judge my many tabs. Wait, I should close a couple of these tabs first so I don't dox myself. Yeah, okay. I think that's fine. Let's see, we're just gonna share my entire screen. Allow. Am I sharing? Hey, we're in the infinity loop. How fun is that? I'm gonna pull up. Okay, put my phone over here so I can see if you're saying anything. And I can manage what my stream looks like. That's cool. Okay, great. Now I'm in a little corner. That's a good spot for me, actually, I think. Here's my landing page for my yeah, so are aliens possible? The broad answer is obviously yes. We are exhibit A. So that's, yes, the bacteria problem of assuming there's life relative to us, there would also be most likely bacteria, protists, etc., and that could be bad for mixing. Let's see. So then you go to how likely. I hate that when I try to do that. I need to stop trying to scroll. It's one thing. It's fine. So that brings us to the Fermi paradox, which poses three possibilities. One, that there aren't other life forms. Two, that they exist and haven't interacted. Or three, that they already are or were here. It's not exactly helpful to us necessarily, because it's based on probability. And when you have a sample size of 1, you don't really have the numbers to make a probability, that's the main problem with a lot of this science is we have a sample size of 1. If we had a sample size of 2, bam, we would know so much already. But we don't. We have a sample size of 1. So I'm going to go through what I've listed here, and then I have a little document up here that I will get into that has more of my research, because after reading through it again, I realized I need to put more slides in here. And it's fine. I have 80 slides, including sources, but it's okay. So the conditions for biogenesis may be extremely rare. We talked about that. We're not really sure what the conditions exactly are. We have a vague general idea, but trying to get from vague general to it's exactly this is like, and there could be multiple combinations that get you there. Again, we don't know because we haven't managed to make life ourselves, which honestly might be a good thing. I don't, it's a little, it's giving me Jurassic Park, So, and the conditions for a planet to host and maintain life, why did I write maintaining? That's bad English. To maintain life might be rare. As soon as we looked outwards, we found that, because we assumed that most solar systems were like our own, because why wouldn't we? If you have a sample size of 1, you're forced to draw the conclusion that what you're looking at is relatively average. But what we found is it's not very average. It's not very average at all. And this is because of the way that solar systems form. It's actually pretty strange. The Earth is strange. Yeah, no, I don't trust humanity to make new, yeah. But the way that let me find my words. The way that solar systems are made, you're more likely to have a solar system with a hot Jupiter, and bigger planets up close. I'm not sure about the exact numbers of binary versus single star systems. And of course, binary systems would have a totally different set of like sweet spots and everything like that. The Earth is relatively unique in the way that our core is. Like, our magnetic sphere is very strong for a planet of this size. That's not normal at all. And that magnetic sphere is what has protected our planet so well from being like pounded into oblivion, and like from solar storms and stuff like that, from being absolutely fried. So it's very rare. Did we lose my screen sharing? What the heck? Yeah, so Mars is about the same size as us, but it does not have a good magnetosphere. There was water on Mars at one point. It's hard to say exactly if anything came of that. But as far as like, we haven't discovered anything on Mars that can be undeniably proof of life having existed there. I mean, there's like all these things where they're like, oh, but this could be a sign of XYZ. And it's like, well, it could be, or it could be this other totally innocuous thing that's way more likely. Uh, you know? So once they give me like some good solid proof, I'm gonna see if I can bring back my PowerPoint, maybe. Hello, are we there? The stream on my phone is delayed for a second, so I have to just wait until I see if it did anything at all, and it did not. Okay, I guess we're not screen sharing. It is what it is. Yeah, so, and life in general might be a new thing for the universe. I mean, it took, like, the amount of time it has taken to get to the point where we have, like, these elements and these combinations of elements is, it might just be that life is new. We could be the first. There could be more later. Or there could have been in the past, and now we're here also. The universe is really big. Is really big, so it's really hard to say. So moving on to, like, let's say if they exist, why wouldn't they have contacted us? Well, one, they might not have the capacity to. Just because they exist doesn't mean they have the technology to reach out. And just because alien life exists doesn't mean they're sapient. It doesn't mean they think like we do. It could just be a bunch of like prokaryotic cells. Who knows? Especially the possibility of intelligent life is less believable even, just based on how our cells develop. Our cells developed by, like, inside our cell is another cell from another being that used, like, not another being, like another, like, bacteria or whatever that used to exist that merged with our cells, and then it's split with our cells, and then it like became just part of it. And so it's the if that is necessary to multicellular life, then it might be just really difficult for that to happen. And science also may not be inevitable. I mean, if you think about other hominids, most of them didn't have the ability to use tools. I believe it was mostly just like Homo sapiens and Homo erectus. There might be another one, but out of all the hominids, all the hominids, it's not necessarily that they'd be able to use tools. Intelligent life is like a dolphin that doesn't have opposable thumbs or whatever. Like, I don't think dolphins are manufacturing computers, There also the ability to communicate abstract ideas might be rare. If you think about all the intelligent life on the planet, most of them are not communicating abstract ideas, right? Like, if they don't have the concept of the number 0. Yeah, so the Neanderthals, their use of tools was actually pretty limited. They weren't able to construct new things. Oh yeah, Homo habilis, yeah. But the Neanderthals weren't able to construct like multi-step tools or multi-step like actions. They were relatively limited in that capacity, which is part of the reason why they got outcompeted. Uh, they they were so similar to us. They just didn't quite get there, and then we outcompeted them. So bummer for Neanderthals, except their DNA still lives on through us. So species and everything is like weird in general. I feel like something's a species until it's a different species, and it's just a little. I can't quite get my head around it so easily. Let's see. Yeah, so what we consider intelligence might not be a successful strategy to survival, and therefore might not be. Oh, how did we interbred with Neanderthals? Actually, they're similar enough to us. It's like a donkey and a horse, except they didn't produce sterile mules. They produced more us. And so if it's not successful strategy, it's going to get Darwined out. We all know how evolution works. If it doesn't help you survive, it's out. Not particularly. There are. It wouldn't necessarily be impossible by definition of species, because there are certain species. If you're closely enough related, you can breed. For most of the time, the young is sterile. We just happen to be close enough that it worked out. There are some species that are able to do that if you're like close enough on the evolution line. Yeah, and if all your stuff lines up the right way, it's rare. It's definitely rare, but if all your stuff lines up the right way, and I know I can't retrieve the words I'm trying to use, so bear with me, but it is physically possible, as indicated by the Neanderthal genes that still run through us. Actually, that's where redheads come from. Fun fact is Neanderthals. They all had pale skin and red hair as far as our current knowledge of them goes. This might be proven wrong later, as many things are. But based on the knowledge we have now, we're under the assumption that they were pale and with red hair. And if you look at modern DNA, it backs that up as much as it could, because DNA is still kind of like funky and interpretive. It's not a very strong science for sure, because you can basically interpret it to say a lot of things. But there are some core facets of it that have held true through our research. For example, all life on Earth being related, we're able to tell that through DNA, which is like if aliens were here, if they appeared as something that we would think to test the DNA of, then we would know. But if we don't, then we wouldn't know, No, yeah, so species are like species are strange. And biology is a little weird. Fish don't exist. It's just biology is weird. Okay, I don't get too far into the biology side. I barely passed biography in college. Geology makes way more sense to me. Astronomy makes way more sense to me. Yeah, so dogs and wolves, not the same species. Gray wolves have the best chance at breeding with dogs because we created dogs from gray wolves, but they are no longer the same species after human intervention. But that's essentially like, if you think of the Galapagos finches, those finches were the same finch, and then they developed differently to become different species. And that's, species lines are really like wiggly, fuzzy. They're not like, because you don't all of a sudden just have a new species, right? Like they have to evolve that way, and there's not going to be a clear line that says, yeah, that's this is the old one and this is the new one, because if you look at it, it's just going to be the mother and the young, and there's not going to be that big of a difference between those two. But if you take the difference of like 10 generations this way and 10 generations that way, the differences might be significant. So that's just, species are weird and they're not very solid. Well, you're probably, quite honestly, remembering what they taught you in school, because what they teach you in school, unless you go into it in like college, or if you take like an AP class, like what you learn in like 6th grade, like what you learn in middle school and stuff, they're teaching you like such basics, because you cannot throw a 6th grader in the deep end. They're not going to understand anything of what you're saying. You start with the absolute basics, and then you don't really necessarily get to expand upon them a lot, because there are a lot of different sciences you have to introduce to kids during those ages based on the way we've set up our curriculum. So you're not they don't even teach 6th graders that like intersex people exist, right? So and like, hey, hi, me. I would be very confusing to a 6th grader if they were only trying to work around what they had been taught in class. It's you get taught basics, but they kind of like, they narrow you into like such a small, like you're looking through a crack in a door, right? And seeing biology, versus like if you were to open up that door, you'd be like, oh, that shit's weird. And that's, any biologist will tell you biology is weird. It's actually very interesting, and I won't be alive then, but I'm like, I am very excited for when our X and Y switch to Z and W, because that's a thing that happens with species, is their, quote, sex chromosomes will become a different set of sex chromosomes. Yeah, an intermediary stage is like, if Neanderthals and humans, like, because they came from the same like group up here, when they went down, if they had gone like shoop, then yeah, it wouldn't have worked. But we were kind of like shoop, like we were still kind of tight, and actually Homo sapiens did breed with Homo erectus as well. These are, because all these hominids, they were alive at the same time in the same areas. Actually, if you look in like the Asian gene pool, you can find more Homo erectus. And if you look in like the Middle East to like Eastern Europe, you find more of the Neanderthal DNA. And it's just one way that it's really interesting to look back. Now, DNA isn't always super reliable. You can't do DNA testing like that on a singular person. You have to do it on a lot of people and compile the data. That's why ancestry tests are BS. If you did it with like your whole extended family, you could probably get a decent picture. But when you just send in your own DNA, when you send in your own DNA, they can't actually really do much of anything. They're lying to you and they're taking your money. Scams. Let's see. Let's see. And then let's see. Are we finished this slide? I don't know. I've been talking. I've been talking so much. All right. Right. So another reason why they might not reach out from their planet is if they don't have a concept of space. If their planet has like a gas layer above it, if they live underground, if you don't know that anything's out there, you're not going to reach out. There'd be no reason to even think of that. Let's see. They may have the ability but are like unable. Space is big. The speed of light is currently the cap that we know of. There may be a workaround. We haven't gotten there yet. We might never get there. It might be theoretically possible and not physically possible because, you know, the physics of the thing are kind of a little bit more important than the math of it. Don't tell any like mathematicians I said that. They'll get mad at me. But just because you figure out the equations that make it work doesn't mean you can actually make it work. Radio waves might get drowned out, dissipated, fuzzied after a light year or several. There's not a lot in space, but there is still stuff in space. There's planets in the way, stars in the way, random molecules hanging out in places, you know, just interrupted in the radio waves. Species also might not expand past their own solar systems due to time, wear, travel, resources. It can take centuries to get from star to star, so that would be generations. Your ship would deteriorate. If you wanted to like hop onto the next solar system, you'd have to wait until it got close enough because they are moving around. Yeah. Faster than light is a bit of an engineering problem. But it's also it's an engineering problem if you're only sending a drone. If you want to send actual like living beings out, then it's definitely very a physical kind of problem, and then a biological problem and all of that. It much more relies on physicality than it does the mathematics of the situation. The best workaround that we can think of actually is folding space, i.e. like a wormhole. So that is also interesting, but we've kind of started getting into that with teleporting electrons, but it's not anywhere close enough to being able to move even like an inanimate objects. Yeah, and I think drones would probably will be I mean, we've already sent like drones out, right? Like, of course, we lost contact with the one that left our solar system. Good luck out there, buddy. uh, yeah, wormholes. The way we've hypothesized them so far are related to black holes, which, if you could survive the compression, you could come back out of. Like, stuff does come back out of them eventually. Black holes are also very interesting because gravity alters time itself, like not just our perception of time, but like time itself, because time is a dimension. It's not one that we're very good at interacting with, as we can only go one direction and at a pretty steady, unchangeable rate. You can, however, change it a bit by manipulating gravity. So if someone, for example, was to sit around the black hole in the center of our galaxy, they would experience time a lot slower than someone who lives on Earth, which could effectively put them somewhat into the future if they were to get out of that gravity and come back. But of course, then there's the effects of being around that much gravity is not usually good for people. Just as being around too little gravity is not necessarily good for people. We're pretty much built to live on Earth because that's where we live. And maybe that's all we're meant to do, is just live on Earth. As much as I think space travel would be really cool. I want to go to Jupiter. I know I'm never going to go to Jupiter. This is stuff that's going to happen like way after I'm dead, but it's cool to think about. Let's see. Also, the amount of energy to transmit to other stars is high. It doesn't make a lot of sense to just send random broadcasts out to places to try to find life, because it's a lot of energy and resources, and it just makes way more sense to only send a direct transmission if you already know that something is there. We also don't transmit either, not in this way that we're talking about. We've obviously sent some stuff out into the universe. I find it so arrogant that they say that because their messages are in math, that any species has to be able to understand it, because mathematics is our human way of describing the world around us and the universe around us. It's not necessarily how another species would interpret anything at all. And they're like, oh, and we did this thing based on the Fibonacci sequence. And it's like, okay, but if the alien species we contact doesn't have the Fibonacci sequence, like, y'all think you're hot shit. That just annoys me a little bit, because I feel like they're not thinking big enough. Of course, they sent that a long time ago. So we have learned a lot since then. So maybe now if we were to send something, people would think bigger, but who knows? Yes, right, exactly. Having 10 fingers, that's how we built the base 10 system, is because we have 10 digits. Like, if an alien species has 3 fingers on each hand, they very well could have a base 6 set, a standard. Like, people are just humans. Humans are so arrogant. Sometimes when I give this kind of presentation to my friends, they ask me are you an alien? Because I'm just going after humans and saying the word human so much. But no, I'm human. I got birthed out me mom, who's also a human. You know, just my humble humanity. They also could be. No. If a alien species had 6 digits, if they only had 3 fingers on each hand, assuming they had something that represented a hand, but you know, like the most like famous drawings of like ETs, whatever, they always have like 3 fingers. If you only had 6 fingers to work with, you would use a base 6 system. The way like binary is a base 2, we use a base 10. There have been base 12 systems. It's just if you have 6 digits, you'll probably use a base 6 system for your mathematics. Assuming that you have any drive to use your mathematics, I mean, mostly what we used it for was like, I mean, once we developed it, we obviously used it for more exams. Oh, okay. Well, you asked me a question. I assumed it was in good faith. Uh, yeah. Anyway, they might be communicating in ways the way they might be communicating in ways we don't understand, because we use radio waves and whatever. They might be using waves outside the spectrum that we search. They might not be using radio waves at all. We tend to look for prime numbers, but if we go back to their mathematics being different, their prime numbers would also be different, assuming they had. Well, I've never seen the meme before. If I haven't seen it, mentioning it doesn't help me. It's like, oh, that's just like this scene in Game of Thrones. Well, I haven't seen Game of Thrones, so I didn't say that right even a little bit. I switched my N and my M. That's okay. We also might not look in the right place for long enough. We tend to do like a kind of scan thing happening. But if something was trying to send us a message, we would have to be looking at where the message is coming from for a prolonged time. Yeah, send it to me. So we're communicating in a way that's obvious for us, and they would be communicating in a way for obvious for them. And if those two things are not the same, then we're going to miss each other. Also, presuming they exist, why haven't they contacted us? They might not have reason to. I mean, if they have the ability to know that we're here and contact us, they're probably way more advanced than we are. And there's not really much you could get from Earth that you couldn't get from other things that would be closer to where they are. There's really, if there really wouldn't be any need, like there's nothing they could trade with us, right? If they're more advanced than we are. It would be like a kind of a pet project type thing if they were to contact us in that point. Other life forms might be more introverted. We might just be freaking nosy. And colonization might be a human thing. I mean, it's definitely a hominid thing. It's, if you look back to like most creatures, like they have their space that they live in, and that's where they live, and they can't really go much this way or that way from it because of how they've evolved specifically to be in that environment. Whereas hominids, as soon as they started popping up, started spreading. That is in our nature, is to spread out. That might not be in the nature of other aliens. They also might have gone like a mind uploading or VR kind of way, in which case, who cares about the physical world anyway? Our solar system might not be attractive to them. Our star is not the most stable star in the universe. I don't know that they would want to come here for any reason really in particular. There's just not very much attractive here. Yeah, I'm gonna allow that. That's fine. That's fine. That's a fine comment. I'm allowing it. It also might not be a good idea to like broadcast your location. Like, what if there's a ton of alien species out there and there's some intergalactic war that we've yet to discover that we're not part of, so staying hidden is good? I don't know. It could be. It could be. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. It's a possibility. Is it a strong possibility? Well, who knows? We don't know. And what would it mean for them to have already arrived? There could be the simulation argument that they made this world, whether via simulation or just like they shaped how it was developing, kind of like playing one of those Sims games, right? It is a lot of effort to colonize where life already is. That is true. I wouldn't bother. And they might have the same idea. So with the kind of like them shaping the world, that would be an interpretation of religious understanding of the universe. Yes, we Galactus is a good example. There's also, our casual conspiracy theories of like the government is hiding them. Ooh. It comes down to Area 51, abductions, cattle, unsolved mysteries, UFOs. Thanks. Maybe they don't want us to panic. Maybe they'll reveal it eventually. But look at me. Look at me in the eyeballs. If for some reason someone were to think that all of the world's governments got together and agreed on something like hiding aliens, I don't believe that. I don't believe that even a little bit. Like, I just don't believe it. Because it would have to be, it's not just the United States governments, like other countries exist. A lot of these like conspiracy theorists tend to forget that the US is not the only place on earth. So that's just like, so I don't believe that one particularly. We also could be a sort of space wildlife preserve. That could be fun. That could absolutely be fun if we were a space wildlife preserve in a cordoned off section of the universe. Just, we're like we're like the little lions, and they're like using their spaceships as the tour vehicles, and they're looking down like, oh, look at the humans in their natural habitat fucking shit up. That's what we do. is what we do. We could be an experiment. Or they could be hiding among us. Let me see what else I have in my document here. All right, so the faster than light travel thing, the workaround that I was mentioning, is if you can't move yourself through space that quickly, you can try to move space around you, which would come into using negative energy, which is not really, it's like, it's a theoretical, it's not going to be happening. I don't believe it will be happening. You could also manipulate gravity to make a sort of warp bubble. We're not even close to there as far as I'm aware. There's also there's this theory in astrobiology called the Great Filter, that intelligent life cannot get to the point where they interact with other life. This comes in a couple points. One, habitable planets may be rare, like we said. Life may be new to the universe, or continuously habitable zones are rare. With the amount of change that happens throughout the universe, it's hard to say exactly if us being, I'm not going to say untouched, but like us being in a sweet spot for so long, that might be rare. And even when I say so long, in the terms of the universe, it's been like a blink. So because yeah, Galactus is very fun for astrobiologists. We also tend to believe that liquid water is what life is needed for, unless it's created with a foreign structure that we don't understand. Liquid water is really great because we're carbon-based life. Carbon-based life does seem to be the most likely as we look outward. There's, of course, most people have heard of the theory of there could be silicone-based life. That's because on the periodic table, silicone is directly below carbon, which means it has the same amount of electrons on its outer shell. However, being down a level does mean it is slightly less reactive. And I say slightly, a significantly less reactive in practice. It still technically could happen, but it's not incredibly likely. Carbon is just, it really hit that sweet spot. I got you. Yeah. When I was in middle school or high school, because Markiplier talked about it, and I was like, oh wow, that's so cool. And then as an adult, I've looked more into it, and it's not likely. It's not impossible. I'm not going to tell you that anything is impossible. Okay, we just don't know enough to say that anything is necessarily impossible. And I do mean necessarily in the exact definition of the word. But it's not likely. Some things that happen to us that might not happen to other things that might not happen to other planets that may have had an effect on us being a life-bearing planet. The Earth was completely frozen for millions of years. There was a mass extinction that led the way for mammals to take over the earth. Because if you recall, before that, it was reptiles ruling the earth. All of our very nice dinosaurs that are now dead, except for the avian ones, of course. Avian dinosaurs are very fun. We look at our windows and see them. So there is, of course, when you get a planet, you get life on there, it stays habitable. Eventually, that sun is going to burst. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what type of star your sun is. It's going to burst. It will get bigger and explode. That is what stars do. So, again, if there was a planet out there that had life and sustained it, they just might have get exploded. Plate tectonics also might be necessary. The size of our moon in comparison to our planet also could be relevant. The moon does have a significant effect on us. The moon, as we know, like with our tides and stuff, that might be pretty important. You might actually need to smash a couple planets into each other to create a planet that can hold life, which is what ours did. We we are quite aware that our Earth definitely hit a few large things, at least, which is actually what deposited all that iron to make our really great magnetosphere. Without those crashings, we would not have it, and we would not be here. It's just a ton of this happened, and then this happened, and this happened, and if even one of those things didn't happen, or if they happened in a different order, everything would, like butterfly effect, obviously, but it's so, even just looking at life on Earth, you can tell that life is a very rare thing universally. Like, a lot of stuff has to line up. Now, if that rareness extends to it not having happened anywhere else, that remains to be seen. And it doesn't necessarily mean that other life is unlikely. It just means that you got to have a lot of stuff line up. And maybe all that stuff lining up is actually fairly common. We just don't know. Again, we have a sample size of 1. We're not very good at traveling through space. You probably, to have a species that's good at traveling through space, you'd probably need them to have significantly longer lifespans. Humans do okay with lifespans, but if you had a species with longer lifespans, well, of course, they would develop technology even faster, of course, too. And so that would just be better in general for trying to have a species that can traverse space like that. Let's see. I really wish you could see my screen. Maybe if I just stop sharing it and then I try again. I don't know. I really want to get this screen sharing thing to work. Let's see. Yeah, entire screen. Okay, allow. Now I have to wait. Okay, I'm seeing. Ooh, okay, we're back. We are so back. And yeah, like I said before, eukaryotic cells might be rare because of the aforementioned interaction between single-celled organisms, one of them essentially living in the other to form our kind of cells. Yeah, and that theory is directly related to our mitochondria, which has its own code that is not related to us at all. It's just like in there. It's just in there. It's just hanging out. It's saying hi, you know. Let's see. Yeah, again, it's possible that spontaneous life has occurred, abiogenesis has occurred, and then just died out. Because you have to be able to create life, and then you have to be able to maintain it. Why is it hiding that message? Okay, interesting. I guess it doesn't like the word fingies. Sorry. We went over tools. Sorry, I have like this doc is not that big, but it's just a lot of stuff we've already covered. I'm really proud of that Among Us line. It's in my thing here. Among Us. It was very important to me. Right, and this comes back to what you mentioned before, that we are the aliens, that our life came from somewhere else. But then, of course, it goes back to, okay, but where did it come from, though? Which also makes it difficult to, if we did come from somewhere else, that would make it even more difficult to figure out abiogenesis, because we've been basing our studies off of how we know Earth was. But if we didn't come from Earth, if we came from another place, and then that place crashed into Earth, because we know a lot of stuff hit Earth, if cells came from one of those things that crashed, we would then need to refocus our attention to what was the situation where the cells were made. And if we don't know that, then we're pretty much left out to dry. It's a bummer. Oh yeah, so a lot of our stuff also is related to the Fermi paradox. That's another important one. Yeah, I think maybe we talked about that. I don't know. Fermi paradox. Yeah, we talked about Fermi paradox. So we talked about Occam's razor. That just sticks in my mind as something that was important, and I don't really remember. Let's do some research on my research stream. Occam's razor. Yes, the smallest possible set of elements. It's related to the Fermi paradox, where the most likely is what you should assume the answer is. But most likely in our case, we don't know what's most likely at all. So we can't really use that. These are some things that I'll be looking into in my PowerPoint. I have a lot in my PowerPoint. I have some Roswell stuff here. Roswell, spoiler alert, hoax. Sorry if you were really into the Roswell incident, but it's a hoax, and it's a very well-known hoax. Let's see, incident categories. Yeah, I'm ranking them like earthquakes. Roswell is not incredibly interesting. It is a weather balloon. it was just, well, I mean, weather balloon, right? It was government technology. They were trying to spy on the Soviets. It's the Cold War. It's almost always the Cold War. When it comes to aliens, I'm so sorry. It's almost always the Cold War. Let's see. The National Enquirer picked it up. A tabloid, naturally. They picked it up 30 years later, printed a wrong. Yeah, except it's not the logarithmic scale because they're not earthquakes. It was just sort of a rating thing. It's going to help me organize my PowerPoint. It's basically like, here, we can go back and look at it. Witness testimony up close is going to be like the first kind, and then close proximity, ground contact, and abduction witnesses or other direct contact. So your one is your least scary. I do not want to be abducted by an alien. Some people are out there like, yes, let them abduct me. You do not want to be abducted by an alien. If any of these abduction stories are even somewhat true, like if they were real, let's pretend we live in a world where they were real. You don't want to be abducted. Are you kidding me? People will be wilding. I'll tell you that. And so the uncorrected story they printed was that it was possible the government could be hiding something, which is not a very confident statement. To then be saying that it definitely was the case. And again, 30 years later is not a great time to, like, that's not a, look, I kind of do know what kind of freak you are. It's the probing is not the issue. Okay. It's yeah, so they picked it up 30 years later. It's not good investigative journalism to rely on this source. It's not a first-hand source. It's not a good source. And most of the conspiracies came about in the 90s. The 90s. And let's see, when did this happen? 1947. And you took over 30 years? Over 30 years for the conspiracy theories? Yeah. Not good research if you're relying on these. All the alien corpses and whatever, and all this fake stuff. It's all fake. It's all fake. It's not real. I don't know how much more I can say that. It's just not. It's not real. So I have the video. I'm not going to play the video right now because it is, first of all, graphic. Second of all, could be copyright. I don't know. It was made by a hoax. It wasn't made by hoax. It was made as a hoax is what I was trying to say. The people who made it said it was a recreation of a video. Because they received a video in too poor condition. But where's the video? You want me to believe you? Where's the video? I don't believe you. Picture it didn't happen. I need some receipts. I have a lot of pages here that I haven't got. It's such a big project, all this alien crap. It's definitely the biggest by far of all of my cryptid projects. I'm actually doing more research too on my humanoid ape men. I'm planning on making some of my PowerPoints into designs eventually. My humanoid ape man is criminally like underdeveloped from what I know now, because I got, all right, did I bring them? Book haul. Okay, I bought books from a man on the internet. And nope, I don't like that. Let's go somewhere and we'll just open this one up. I bought books. I got books from a man on the internet. This book, $385 on sale. Yeah. Most places you would go to get this book, because it's not at your local Barnes and Nobles, I'll tell you that. The Sasquatch and Other Unknown Hominoids, which is a collection of research papers that were presented at a particular symposium and around the time. Oh, vampires. Hey, I got where's my vampires aren't in here because I haven't posted it to Patreon yet. Cryptids, come on. Undead bloodsuckers. Hi. I've not done much work into this yet. I have done precursory research. I just haven't put anything on these slides. And this is obviously not all that will be on this PowerPoint, because we all know I am extra and I go overboard. Exhibit A, my $385 Sasquatch book, because I wanted access to research papers that you can no longer access. I'm really interested in this, especially the biological and psychological aspects of the Sasquatch, which is chapter 4. I think that's going to be really fun. I have not gotten to reading this book yet. I definitely am going to. I paid $385 for it. But one of the things that I find really interesting is biology and psychology and anthropology. Yeah, so vampires very cool. Vampires, it's really interesting that across, like, it's something that exists across cultures. Like, there are certain, like, cryptids or whatever that are like, yeah, that's like a local thing to this place. But the ones that are cross culture stories, those fascinate me significantly, because it lends itself to the imagining of a past where humans had to worry about something in particular. They needed to avoid something in particular. Like, all of these stories, they come from somewhere. Like, obviously, like, Little Red Riding Hood is a story that comes from just like, don't walk through the woods, stupid. You're just keeping your kids out of the woods. Like dragons are very cool as well. You're just keeping your kids out of the woods, and there are wolves in the woods. That's, common thing. But when you get to things like humanoid ape men or your undead bloodsuckers, the flood myths are actually very interesting. It has, because there are so many in that particular area, it has led research to that area of a past possible flood. And it's generally, the general consensus is that at some point there was a giant flood in that area. And then later people told stories about it, or the stories that got passed down probably, got ad-libbed a little here or there, or, it's like a game of telephone. But yeah, it's like that kind of collective memory. Now, am I saying that like primitive humans were chased down by Draculas and Nosferatus? No. No. As funny as that is. But it's just interesting to me that all these cultures come up with this kind of thing. And so obviously genetic memory, humanoid ape men are the easiest to explain this way because there were also other humanoid ape men at the time that we were humanoid ape men. Like Neanderthals, Homo erectus, a couple others. I always forget their names because they don't come up in my research as often. But it's like, yes, we are scared of the other humanoid ape men because they're not us, and survival instincts of a species is, but yeah, those kind of things, they really interest me, because researching cryptids isn't just cryptozoology. I mean, it can be if you just let it be that. I don't. Because I'm really big into psychology, anthropology, biology, and all of that stuff. I know I said like before that like biology is confusing, and I try not to get into it too much. I do tend to delve like a little into it here and there because it is fascinating, because it's so interesting, because it's so weird. It's so weird and strange, and there's nothing else like it as far as we know. Uh, it's just really, really interesting to me. So that's like where I come from when I'm like looking into like the cryptids and stuff, is like, what is the explanation for this? Is it that there's some strange creature out there? Or is it memory of a people? Or is it confusion over a local animal? Or is it a biological memory? Like what is it? I like to look into that because I think it's interesting. And I think that a lot of people you find, especially who are researching like Bigfoot, aren't necessarily going in for that. They're out in the woods trying to find Bigfoot, which I don't think you're going to be very successful with if you don't study Bigfoot's like psychology. That's actually this is going to sound weird. Just bear with me. That's actually kind of what I went to college for the first time around. I went for neuropsychology because I was and still am, very interested in the way that biology and physiology affects psychology, because it's all related. Psychology is based around your biology and physiology because it's based around survival, and it's based around survival of the species, of evolution kind of stuff. It's there for a reason, and it's really interesting to look into why and how it interacts and everything. I feel anyway. I I that's part of the reason I'm really good with animals, particularly animals that I know a lot about as far as like their biology or their habits go. Like the way you interact with a carnivore is going to be different than the way you interact with an herbivore. And honestly, everybody's out here like, oh no, a bear. I'm out here like, oh my God, a deer. I don't want to be anywhere near that thing. Deers are scary. Okay. If you live in anywhere where there's large herbivores, the herbivores are the scary thing. The predator is like, you can get around the predator. Most of the time, you just need some pepper spray because they don't want to get their senses fucked up. An herbivore, though, you look at them wrong, you're being gored by a deer. You're getting trampled by a moose. Like, thank you, I think. I'm not incredibly familiar with a lot of Vampire the Masquerade kind of things. Like, I've heard of it. And I know a little bit about it, but I haven't actually done my research into it yet because it sounds interesting. Oh, there's secret keepers. I can keep secrets. Give me the lore. Give me the tea. That's actually my position in my family. Is I'm the person who knows everything all of the time, except for the things I don't know. But that is just kind of how that works. I like knowing things. It brings me great pleasure to know things. Yeah. So in my undead, do I have a doc? Undead bloodsuckers. That's fun. Is it just a list of names? It's just a list of names and nothing else. All right. Good job, Ace. Great. Good job. But I know a bit about some of these, like, obviously the chupacabra is a fun bloodsucker. Not necessarily undead, but it is a bloodsucker. And it kind of just, a lot of the general vibe of vampires is loss. All their stories, their myths and stuff, they come from a place of loss, whether it's the loss of a child, the slow seeping sickness, lawyers are not going on my undead bloodsucker PowerPoint. Okay, that's propaganda. Though, to be quite honest, none of the lawyers I know are very good at being lawyers, so they really do just let anybody be a lawyer. It's kind of scary. I could have been a lawyer. I was going to go to law school, and then I was like, wait, I don't hate myself enough to put myself through law school. Not doing that. So I am not a lawyer. Because I don't hate myself. Sometimes, but not enough to go to law school. But the general vibe of these kind of stories is either monstrosity in general or loss. And I think that's really interesting because a lot of these stories and myths are also centered around very human things, and giving very tragic things of form. I don't know who that is. But that's also something that I like to think about of, oh, and I want to do some crypto botany. Oh, thank you for also not hating me. Like Old Man of the Crater. So interesting. You can see my lore doc over here that has yet to be turned into a thing. Doing the cryptids You Don't Belong Here, that was really fun. I can actually move that to posted. But that was really fun because there were a lot of, I haven't watched that in so long. I did like what I watched. I like stopped watching it and then I never watched it again. Not for any particular reason. I just didn't. But there were some in here that I looked at. I looked at like what was said about it, and then I looked at what animals were native to the region. And I was like, that's like one of them was literally a pangolin. I forget which one. Here, if I go to history, let's see if I can find the one with the pangolin. Nope, not there. I'm very proud of that meme I made, by the way, so I'll show you that in a second. Oh, the ghost camel, the phantom kangaroo. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Oh, come on. Where's my pangolin? This is so frustrating. Yeah, that's basically like, I think I stopped watching before season 3. I think I finished season 1 at least, but I don't really remember anything else. Ghost camel. Man, okay. I don't know where it is. It would be in here somewhere. Oh, wait, no, it's probably more recent because I just finished this more recently. Maybe it was one of the dinosaurs. It was one of the dinosaurs that... Okay. I don't remember which one it was. But one of these was a pangolin. Just trust. Just trust. Just trust. One of them was a pangolin. Anyway, this is the meme I made. She doesn't even go here. And it's a hyena. They don't go here. It's a good meme. Yeah. I also love that they're called ABCs, alien big cats. It's a good initial. Yeah, I know I already told you about it. But I wish I could remember. Maybe it's in our, maybe I can search our Discord messages for pangolin. Oh, the mahuru. Yeah. The mahuru is a pangolin. Let me see if I can pull it up. Because it's just a pangolin. Okay, it's reported in Kenya. Yeah, look at this thing. Look at this fucker. That's a pangolin. It's like, it is like a mini ankylosaurus, but it's a pangolin. Just trust. Just trust. It's a pangolin. Because let's go look at a pangolin. Like because I already knew what a pangolin was, the second I saw it, I was like, that's a pangolin. What are you talking about? Where do pangolins live? Oh, they live in the same place that this thing is found? Well, I wonder if those dots connect. Some people, I swear to God. Also things that look like things that they're not. Bears. You ever seen a bear standing up? Bear standing up. These fuckers are so much more human-like than anyone gives them credit for. Like, you see a bear standing up in the dark, you're probably gonna think that's a hairy dude. Like, let's be real. Let's be real. Yes, the squonk is cute. The squonk is approved by another one of my friends. Like, that's That's a dude. That's a dude. That polar bear, except it's a bear. Oh yeah, sun bears are sun bears when they stand up, I don't want to be around them. Like I don't like that. I don't like that. Someone like I don't like that. It's not okay with me. Shouldn't be allowed. Um Also kangaroos are freaky. They're freaky? No? Okay. I already see some of these are wallabies. No, look at this thing. Look at this thing. That is scary. That is scary. And it is scary because kangaroos will fuck you up. Kangaroos will. They will. Look at this thing. He's sorry. He's gonna hurt you. He's gonna hurt me. He's gonna find our families and he's gonna hurt them. Kangaroos are scary. Oh, wombats are great. I love wombats. Wombats, actually. I was trying to find. It was so frustrating because I was trying to find, and now I have way too many tabs open. I was trying to find a picture of. You know what? I don't think it's even in my slide. I think it's in my. I think it's in my Zine. Come on, dude. Let's open. Okay. Anyway, a sneak preview. This thing is related to a wombat. Yes, they do box each other. That is, yeah. They will beat you up. They'll beat everybody up. That thing is called Diprotodon. I don't know. I've never heard someone say the word before. I learn all my new words by reading them. So I pronounce things funny. And if you're wondering the source, I had to it's so hard to find CC0 pictures to use because you can use those in for commercial use, which is what I need if I'm going to. It is, yes, it is pronounced zine. I go back and forth pronouncing it one way or the other because I always pronounced it zine because I didn't know it was short for magazine at first, and then I found out it was short for magazine. I'm like, oh, zine, yeah, but I still, because it was a habit first, sometimes I still call it a zine. Anyway, apparently YouTube also does not like the word boopable. That's interesting. We're learning new things today. Yeah, so it is a zine. Same with like coffee, like that's spelled KO-FI. I always called it Ko-Fi. And then people were like, buy me a coffee. And I was like, oh, that I'm a little slow. It's okay. I'm not very good with new slang and stuff. I get me to read some Middle English, I got you. But new slang, I'm not so good with it. And not in like an old person, like kids these days using words that aren't words. It's just like I'm always missing all of the context because I live on Tumblr. So if it didn't happen on Tumblr, it didn't happen. Anyway, this is related to a wombat. This is one of Australia's last giant marsupials because what is it called? Apes are not native to Australia, not even a little bit. You talking to me about the Yowie Yahoo? It's It's not. It ain't. It's oh, you didn't know that either. uh, yeah, it's coffee. It's coffee apparently. I always pronounce it Ko-Fi because that's what it looks like. If you want me to pronounce it coffee, why'd you put the hyphen? Exactly. We're on the same wavelength there. Because so Australia had giant marsupials. Still does if you count this fucker. And yeah, so it never had apes or hominids until people, until human people, as far as we know. Okay, big asterisk. As far as we know, don't come at me if you know differently. Look, not the fun yowie, the not real Australian Sasquatch. Sorry, Australia. Yeah. So it's the Yowie Yahoo. This page is not done, by the way. It looks done. It's not done. Yeah. So they're pretty much said to look a certain way, and then like a lot of these quote sightings can be attributed to kangaroos because especially in the dark, you see that guy stand up. That's a dude. That's a dude who is coming for you. These marsupials did live around the time that modern man would have made it to Australia, so it could be passed down legend kind of thing. Anyway, yeah, you said wombat. You got me on a tangent. Oh yeah, do you want to see it? Let's take a look at my desktop. I have OBS, which I don't know how to use. I have these things that I used to be able to use until I updated one time, and all of a sudden you had to pay to get rid of the little logo, which was a bummer. I have various things that I've tried to do art with. I got BlueStacks so I can run Autodesk Sketchbook for free. Yeah. LibreOffice, and I have OpenOffice. I had to switch to LibreOffice for anything that I was formatting into like a book kind of structure because OpenOffice kept getting weird glitches with it. I have my games. I had Baldur's Gate 3, but I had to delete it so I could download all of these. Because Baldur's Gate 3 is freaking massive. Why is it so massive? Yeah, I don't know if I'll bother with OBS Studio. Like maybe if I ever like start streaming like games and stuff. But yeah. Let's see. I think gosh, it's 10:30 now. So I think I'm going to tap out. And next time I'll get into my books and such. And my other books and such. I have a lot of books and such. I have all of Jimmy Petamito's books, aka Mr. Haunted. I got them all when I saw him at the UFO festival. Because I thought they would be a good starting point. I get a lot of stuff as like starting points, and then I can look into it myself. Yeah. I'm also going to be doing stuff on like witchcraft and ghosts and all that good fun stuff. Yeah, but I got to go to work tomorrow. I don't have to go till 10, but I do have to go to work tomorrow. So I'm going to tap out. And where's hello? Where's the part where where's the part where I stop screen sharing? Oh, hi. We're learning new things. All right. So this is me signing off, and I'll be back at some point. Bye.